welcome to another glorious read. I am your host, Aspen and Sage. Let's get into it. I know last week I didn't post, and I had a valid reason for it. The reason was Jessica Halls put out her 2 books for Abby and Damien for the Lost Luna, Liking Luna series. So I wanted to read both books before I was able to do a review. Now, these books, I can't say are as good as the Liking Luna series. I ate those up completely. Like, I couldn't put those down. Same with being King's Royal Guard with Dustin and Liam. I love that book. Now, I'm okay with authors doing backstories. I'm okay with referencing something that happened in a past book. I am a-okay with that. I've done that many times in my own books. But these books were more of the same thing you read in the Liking Luna series. So it was a lot of replay, I guess is the right word to do it. There are some gap fillings, what I do like. And of course, there's an illegal cliffhanger at the end of book 2 that I'm really hoping that she adds to, because if not, I'm going to be very, very upset. Because it literally leaves that with Abby blacking out, and that's it. So the first one is Claimed by the King's Gamma. Now, I'm sure Jessica Hall has a reason the way she wrote these books. She literally starts the book as Abby's first shift. When they're at the orphanage, and of course it relives the part where her and Ivy were supposed to be sacrificed, how they were rescued, and then it slowly shows Abby's perspective of things that are happening in the castle, where the Lost Luna series was more of Ivy and Kyson's look on it, and so this one's more Gamma and Abby's correction. So the first book is pretty much what I thought would be just a recap of what happened. I didn't expect the whole book to be on what happened in the first few books. So there is also a lot of fillers. Like, I didn't know that Damon taught Abby to swim. I didn't know that Damon actually did a lot of things different for Abby and how he felt about her. So there are fillers into this book. And of course, the end of this book leads off with Abby with her mate, Cade, and of course all of her abuse and stuff. And then it goes to Saved by the King's Gamma, was the second book of this little quote. And again, it follows the same storyline of everything happens. I do like how she finishes the end of the book, however. She does finish the end of the book with, well, obviously the illegal cliffhanger in my opinion, but again, I have a feeling she's doing it for a reason, because she leaves it off with, like I said, Abby blacking out and seeing of her boots. You get a moral story about her getting Tyson back. So that's a little bit nicer and obvious, Damien, and stuff like that. Now, what I don't get a little bit was how she wrote the books, I guess. Like, I was really excited because I thought it was going to leave off with what they left off on the Liking Luna series, where she thought she saw her grandmother. And of course that sparks concern for Liam and Damien because they thought they killed her. So, I thought that's where the books were going to lead off. So I was a little confused. Like I said, this book has some more fillers. There were some points that I said, okay, maybe she's going to expand on this. Maybe she's going to expand on that. You know, different things that happened, like when she was on the phone call with Ivy about, you know, everything's okay when she's with Cade, instead of being like, come rescue me. I thought maybe the author would do more of what Abby was thinking during that process, or what was happening. or, those like hints to what Cade or Cassandra was doing. But she didn't touch that, surprisingly. It's just one of those things that I just expected more from the books. But like I said, I think the author has a reason for writing the way she did. And I'm really hoping I'm right, because she needs to put a third book out to this, because you can't leave it with Abby blacking out. Obviously, more happens into the story because we know that there was a battle that ensued. We know Azzy, or what used to be Ivy, becomes basically the full queen. They find out who's killing the rogues. We know more about the story because we read the Liking series. But I really thought maybe she would expand on Abby and Damien's relationship. I thought that, she would talk more about their mating and being together, Like, I thought she would write, the book saying basically being mated to the King's Gamma. It's just one of those things that I couldn't understand, but obviously I read the books. I support the author. I think her writing's good. I love what she did. I just expected more, or the story be told different. But like I said, maybe there's a reason why she did a backlash on the stories. I can't really go into much detail because obviously it's just rereading what happened in the past of the series. So it's like, for 2 books, I expected to have this crazy outlandish thing that I had to tell you what happened and excitement. But unfortunately I can't, other than I'm hoping that the author continues. I hope that there's a 3rd book to this, because it'd be nice to know. And I don't know, I kind of hope that there's a book for Damien and his mate, because if I recall, that Damien found his mate in another woman, and who used to be friends with Ivy and Abby. And I'm hoping that maybe she makes a new book on Liam and Dustin, because I still say she did Liam dirty, the poor boy. And of course, if you read that book, you will find out why that Liam was done dirty, and the poor boy needs a break. And obviously, more growth. There's a lot that I think she can cover. I think she could expand the series more. I definitely still say the Like Luna series is one of my favorite series that I have read. In the meantime, while I was reading this, though, I did pick up some audiobook, because I have an author thing, or not an author thing, but a library thing that I can listen to audiobooks for free. So the one I picked up is obviously the big hype that everybody has been talking about. And that, of course, is the Court of Thorns and Roses. I was going to avoid this series because it was so popular. But between this book, I was the reading with Jessica Hall, and I had a lot of ability to listen to stories first thing in the morning or when I'm driving. So I thought I'd pick this up. It was not what I expected to start, as everybody plays it out to be. I will admit, though, that Feyre, she is up my alley for spicy women. I love the women that are very, strong-willed. I love it how she can't hold her tongue. She's on that bratty level. But she's obviously very caring, very smart. She kind of gives me my character of Virgo. I don't talk about Virgo because her book has not been much talked about or released, but Virgo is kind of that little spitfire that Feyre is a little bit. Just Virgo has a lot nastier temper, especially when it comes to her guardian. And that's for a reason, but she's also still a very caring woman in a way. She has her ups and downs. Regardless. So I love it how Feyre is obviously the caring, tender type. She's very strong-willed. She has a strong backbone. She knows what she has to get done. I haven't got that far in the book. I think I'm only 25% into the audiobook. Obviously, she was captured by the fairies, or Fae, High Fae Lord, Tamlin. I'm not sure what everybody's big hype about him is yet. I'm just letting the story go as I listen to it. Of course, I haven't gotten that far, so I don't know what the story is going to hold. I just know that there's some different fae out there that are not so nice, and then fairies that are nice. I mean, obviously in this book. So I was like, you know what? I've put it off long enough. Maybe I can listen in and see what the big hype is about. See why everybody is drooling over this book. But as for the Jessica Hall books, this is the first for me. The spice level was a 2. There was very, very little spice, if any, in this book between Abby and Damien. There was a little play between Kyson and Ivy, but none between Damien and Abby at all. Other than what Cade did to Abby, that was the only spice level, and obviously it was not very kind. And obviously, like I said, Ivy and Kyson. So I'd say it a 2. I give the full books a 4 because I still do enjoy the series. I still do enjoy the books themselves. I do like the little play that she put in and the added detail. I just wish there was more. And I'm not downing these books. I still say read them. I just saying that most of the stuff that she covers is the same stuff that's in book 1 and 2. Or, well, I'd say all 4 or 5. I can't even remember actually how many is in the series. That just gives me an excuse to reread them. So yeah, it's still a good series. Like I said, maybe she did it for a reason. Maybe she's gonna make another book come out. Where it is about Abby and Damien mating, about why the grandmother's still being around. Even the thought of why, I can't remember. I think that Damien told Abby about why he killed her aunt and how that she was his mate and how she betrayed him and how she was working with the werewolf hunters and all that stuff. So, like, I wish there was more, but there's not. And like I said, there's only 2 books out. Maybe there's going to be a 3rd or a 4th. Not quite sure. So full ratings for Spice Level 2. There was not that much. I'm not saying I'm disappointed, but I can't say that I'm completely satisfied. But like I said, not downing the author. I love her reading her books. I love how she wrote the stories. I think that she did this for a reason, and I think that more is going to come out, and I'm excited about it. So unfortunately, I don't have for a 2-book review and skipping a week review for you, but that is what it is. But in the meantime, I'm still working on my lovely books as well. I am still working on my book 2 of my 2nd edition of my book 2, correction, where it's Paige's Immortal King Leo, Paige being Fae. So I know my Fae is probably not like everybody else thinks. Paige is a spiritual Fae. She feeds off the spiritual energy. She's very close to the forest, natural order, stuff like that. So she kind of gains that energy, and that's where she gets her power from. Sometimes her emotions change with her hair, her eyes, her wing color. So she's can be very subtle, especially when Paige gets called a pixie or a sprite or something other than Fae. Usually it's Leo that calls her this. And of course, her hair will turn red for being angry. Sometimes you'll hear it change green, blue, purple, pink when she's blushing. She tries to usually control it so that her emotions don't give her away, but it's kind of like that Fae glamour where they're supposed to be normal looking, but sometimes hers just slips a little. I will definitely put in the book where her fake glamour completely slips. And obviously, they say when Fae glamour slips, the Fae is supposed to look different than what they actually appear. But I think for her, when I have her glamour drop, it's going to be more of a scary look. Not like she's like hideous or anything. Like, I think when she drops her glamour, you're going to get the sense of you're in more danger than you should be. So I'm not making her like very terrifying, scary or anything like that. Just the fact that she's more deadly and dangerous, and her glamour makes her look very petite and very cute, very fairy tale looking, very princess looking kind of thing. So I'm thinking that basically underneath that exterior is a hardened warrior who knows hardship and kind of thing. Of course, Leo is no better. Leo is known for feeling betrayed a lot. And he has a hard time understanding it, but he has a hard time understanding his emotions too, because he always wants to be like, hey, Paige, I want to tell you I like you and I love you, but yeah, I can't tell myself that out loud because I don't want to scare you, or I just can't bring myself to do it. So he's kind of stuck in the old-fashioned ways a little bit, but he shouldn't be. However, I am almost done writing this one, and then I will go back to my other books. Like I said, I have all of the rough drafts of them written. I just want to make sure that the first two books are set and perfect in my eyes. Like I said, when I first released them, they weren't up to snuff. So like I said, I can't judge other people for their writing. I can't say that their books are good or not. I just give my own thought on them. Like I said, most of the books I read, I love. There's only been a few that I have not been too crazy about, but that's okay. But I'm known for my mistakes. I need to put a second edition of these two books out before I continue the series, so that I know everybody will like the story. The story flows better. I realized while writing I've missed detail, and I know I have to fix it. Like I said, although that we didn't have a review last week and I give one this week for two books, it's not a very long review. So unfortunately, this episode is not going to be that long, and I do apologize. I hope everybody has a fantastic Saturday. Stay warm. I know we got freezing rain here and snow, even though we're supposed to be in spring and we had the spring equinox. But regardless, we have snow and ice on the ground. But I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Go do something nice for yourself. Go visit a friend. Maybe, just go do something that's out of the ordinary for you, but you well deserve it. Go to the spa, go to the coffee shop, go have lunch for yourself in that restaurant you've been enjoying. Maybe make that purchase that you've been staring at within reason. That's not going to break your budget. So yeah, maybe you can go buy yourself a nice bouquet of flowers, brighten up your home. I mean, it is spring. Maybe use that deep spring cleaning. Clean out all that freaking, nasty stuff, that old stuff that's been sitting around in winter that you don't need anymore. Bring in some fresh air. Maybe do some cleaning that you didn't think needed to be done, but does. But regardless, guys, thank you for listening in, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.